Blue, are you comfortable? No, don't worry, don't get up. Why make a hidden door? Would it be to get some peace and quiet once in a while? Nah, that'd be silly. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Woodland Reboot. In the first video concerning this hidden door, you saw how I prepared the wood, started to use those pieces of wood to construct and build a shelf frame. To see that video, please click above here. I attached the shelf structure to a door. It was a cheap or an inexpensive masonite door that I bought at Home Depot. I prepared the trim pieces and finished up the painting and other detail work in my garage at home. It's now time to hang this door, so let's get busy.
You good? Mm-hmm. Okay, switch ends.
I've described this in the previous video as a lightweight door. It is, but even as a lightweight door, it's still rather heavy. Heavy enough that I needed to ask my son, here in the orange t-shirt, to help me install the door.
Okay, can you hold it there? Yeah. You got it. You know what to do.
I built the shelf structure using leftover wood from my pole barn construction out on the property. And as I said earlier, I purchased an $80 masonite door from Home Depot, keeping the cost down. This also importantly kept the weight down. Now, even though it is light, as I've said numerous times, I've also installed a caster wheel over there where my son's foot is. I unfortunately did not take any footage of me screwing or installing the caster wheel to the bottom of the frame. I've installed a caster wheel because I'm using the existing hinges in the existing doorway. These are not made for a door of this weight, therefore the caster wheel. The caster wheel carries a significant portion of the weight of the door, as well as pivoting when the door is open and closed, and this pivoting does not in any way, shape, or form inhibit the swing of the door.
I can let go of it. Yeah, I think so. What do you think? Trash pouring. And you see all the holes are gone, all the blackheads.
Now this detail I'm about to describe is very important. The door that I've got hanging in the door frame, the original door, 30 inches wide. So of course the masonite door on which this shelf is now mounted is 30 inches wide. The shelf that you build, the 6-inch deep shelf, cannot be 30 inches wide. Why? Because when you start to swing this 6-inch deep structure in the door frame, it will hit the sides of the frame and it will not open or it will not close. Again, the door opening is 30 inches. Doing some math and some basic calculations using Pythagorean's theorem, I calculated that my shelf structure could be no more than 28¼ inches wide, and it's mounted justified towards the hinges side. This takes into account the 6-inch depth of the shelf as you swing the door either open or close. Again, this is important. There are doors that are 30 inches wide, 28 inches wide, and 38 inches wide. Again, 28¼ inches width of the shelf structure works in a 30-inch wide door frame.
Boy, it closes all the way, James. There's no struggle in the joint.
Hanging the door is pretty easy if you have a second person to help you. As you can see, the door swing shuts here. There is a slight catch. It's hitting the door frame just a little bit as it swings close. And what we decide to do, that you'll see coming up in the video, is to file and shave some of the door frame a little, not the door frame, but the structure of the shelf itself, just taking a little bit off with a chisel and a file. You can play with the hinges a little bit, obviously, to square up and secure the door properly in the door frame, and that's what we ended up doing, or I ended up doing for a few minutes, to better align the door as it closed. So James has got a file, not a file, he's got a chisel, and he's making some pretty good progress. Down below, we used mainly sandpaper, about 150, no, sorry, about 80 grit. That's why we've gone to the chisel. I think James is making great progress. With just a little chiseling and using some sandpaper, we were able to work the door so that it opens and closes rather smoothly. Now time to move on with getting the trim in place.
Okay, I've got my brad nailer.
Oh,
I've finished sanding and painting the trim. Now we're gonna see how well this fits into place or doesn't.
why are you putting that weird thing there?
Huh? What a weird thing.
The piece of wood?
It's called trim. The questions you hear in the background are coming from my daughter, who I don't think approves of my project. Alright, I'll try one right there. Okay, here comes number 2.
I have not installed or created an elaborate door closing mechanism such as something attached to a hidden book or a false book. What I did do though, and again I didn't get it on camera, is that after the trim process I put a bit of a wedge piece into the door jamb itself, so that when you actually pull the door closed or push it closed from the inside, it wedges shut snugly and firmly into position. So it's a friction system right now and not anything related to a latch.
How she's doing. So I need to get the trim piece measured and cut. You see it down there, but I need to get that in place. So that's about one more thing to do. But that's really coming together. And up top where the glass is, I'm going to make an insert for that. But otherwise, this is really coming together, everybody. Looks like a shelf. It's a door. Right, Phoebe? Okay.
On this bottom piece of trim, I glued it and used the brad nailer to secure it in place. I glued it because it needs a little bit of reinforcement, as well as because it's actually attached to the shelf structure itself and not the door frame. I do envision putting the regular door back in place in the coming years, so if I was to glue the frame in place along the long sides of the frame, that would be a bit problematic in taking it off in the future. in addition to gluing and brad nailing that bottom piece in place, unfortunately I do it off camera here, you can hear from the noise, but I also use some wood screws to give it some more strength.
Bottom piece of trim is in place, guys, and I really think this is starting to look quite sharp, guys. The missus hasn't seen it yet, so no doubt I'll have to, well, there's some painting that still needs to be done, but yeah, I like it. I'm going to go get the wood filler to just cover up the nail heads here, the brad nailer heads, but they're very tiny, and the screw heads here.
This really is a fun project to build. Once it's completed, you get to put some family photos, some books on the shelf, and it looks fantastic. And when the feeling grabs you, you can just get into that room and hopefully hide away for a while.